Welcome back to the podcast. Sat next to me today, I have a very special guest, as always. Jack Walker, my man, what is the message?
Thanks for having me on.
I'm really excited to chew the fat with this one. Obviously, at Sheffield Eagles this year, what has it been like since you've stepped back down into the championship and started trying to get a run of form at the Eagles?
Yeah, it's been tough. We've had a lot of injuries and people leaving and a lot of adversity in that sense. So it's been a tough start, and we're still going for a tough period at the moment. But I've been in this position before, and it's something you can turn around. So we're going into the second half of the season now, and hopefully we can fix a few things up and get on the right path.
Absolutely, my man. And obviously for yourself as well, it hasn't been an easy start to the season as such. Obviously, MCL injury you mentioned just prior to starting this. What's the rehab been like for that, and how have you been sort of mentally going through that recovery period?
Yeah, it was about 10 games into the season. Someone just come in at my knee, and as soon as I got injured, I was thinking the worst. ACL season done, and I'd kind of fell off a little bit, but it was kind of good. Probably the best news I could have got. They said 6 weeks MCL, which in the grand scheme of the season, it's not. That's not very long at all. So, I was kind of happy with the outcome. Really, it wasn't that bad, but rehab process was good. I see an external physio, so I travel all the way to Burnley. Bury. I travelled to see him, and he's like probably one of the better physios I've ever come across in the whole, nearly 10 years I've been playing now. So rehab went really well. Got me back. It was a 7 to 10 week injury, and I got back after 6. So rehab went really well, and just getting back on the horse now, and hopefully, like I say, I can get back to some winning ways.
Getting back, building some momentum. You spoke about external physio. So how do you find a physio in Bury? Like, where do you come across someone like that? It's a bit of a random one, and obviously it's a big investment for yourself, time, energy-wise, travelling, like, what's that, about an hour away or so to go and see a physio. But like you mentioned, it got you back in 6 weeks rather than 7 to 10. So that's a big investment for yourself. But where do you discover a physio out there?
So Crew's leaving actually put me onto him. I've been looking for someone to help me because I had a tough injury with my foot, and it's always affected me with other parts of my body. I've kind of been compensating for the foot. So Crew's put him onto me, and I just thought, especially when I didn't have a club, November, December, January time, I just thought I'm going to fully invest in myself and fully go for it. Make sure I'm in the best nick possible. So when I do come back, someone gets the best version of me, and I just thought, why not invest that extra bit of money into myself to get myself there? And it was a sacrifice that I thought, it's an hour and a half away, and I just thought it's the right thing to do, and it turned out it did. I got my speed back, I got my agility back, felt really fast on my feet, and obviously with me having no pre-season, probably the only part that lacked a bit was the fitness and that game-like scenario. When you train, you can play like little games and stuff, but Crew's leaving put me onto the physio, and I never looked back really.
That's unbelievable. Obviously, taking the time yourself to invest in yourself, really, isn't it? And sometimes people don't realise that. Like, they just see 80 minutes on the pitch, don't they? They don't see what you've been through over the 10 years of your career and the injuries that you've picked up in the past and the rehab list that goes on. Like, obviously, a few of the lads at Bradford laugh at me because, like, as soon as we get to the game nearly, I'm starting my pre-ab because of little, like, surgeries I've had and injuries that I've had. But it's because, like, the list does get bigger. And as you pick up these knocks and niggles, and throughout the season as well, you have to sort of manage your body well. Over your career so far, how have you learned sort of to manage your body better? Because, like, obviously we'll touch on this in a little bit, but you're really big into your fitness now. That's how sort of I stumbled across you, and we're sat here today. But how have you learned to sort of manage your body and become that true professional as such?
I get the mickey took out of me a fair bit for basically living in the gym, and it's what's got to be done really. I've got to make sure, like, I'm not compensating on certain muscles because that's when I'll start getting injured again. And I never really want to be injured. No one ever really wants to be injured, but I've just got to tick every box really. And I just spend so much time in the gym, just working on everything. Obviously, mainly the foot, which in the grand scheme of things nearly did, end my career. So yeah, I just make sure I get every box ticked and just work hard. Basically, it's my career's it don't last forever, but I'll try and prolong it as long as I can.
Yeah, for sure. And what was it you actually did to your foot?
Oh, we'll be here a while. So the original injury was a Lisfranc rupture, and I broke my foot in 3 places. That was at the beginning of 2020. I went straight in for operation. I think COVID hit, so my rehab process wasn't great. Like, you couldn't come in and do proper rehab. And anyway, over the period of the 6, 7, 8 months, I ended up developing arthritis in the joint in the foot. So like in pre-season the year after, I was like, my foot still don't feel right. Something's not quite right here. So I went back in for another scan. I think it was January I went in for the scan, and come back saying I had arthritis in the joint and a couple of other bits and pieces in there, but I didn't really understand. But they said it's going to cost you another 8 months of your career. I was like, wow. Like, remember I was in the physio room when he told me, and I just like broke down in tears, and lads were coming in and giving me hugs and that, and I was just absolutely gutted because it was back-to-back years, and yeah, it was hard to get over. But yeah, the injury was arthritis. So what they did is they went in and shaved the bone to get rid of all the arthritis. They then took bone from my heel, put it into the middle of my foot, put a plate on top, and then fused my foot together. So like, I've basically no joint in my foot, which obviously is why certain things happen, like up my leg. I've had a lot of hamstring struggles, and yeah, the big focus is making sure that's nice and strong so the rest of my body can cope.
It's not easy going through that sort of adversity, especially as a younger player. Obviously you're clearly a lot more wise now when you're applying principles to sort of manage your body better, and like you said, you're living in the gym and doing those kind of things. But when that news hits and you get told you're going back another 8 months, what's going through your head? Like, you've just come off the back of COVID year, which we all know, like in the Super League, that was a hell-like year. It was just like, it was crazy. No one really knew what was going on. And then the PCR tests come in, and we're doing PCR tests, and there was 3-4 day turnarounds for every single game with the social distance of training. Like, none of it really made sense. And then you've gone through all that adversity and you get told you're getting set back another 8 months. What is going through your mind then?
I was just gutted. I didn't know what to think at the time. I was just gutted. Because you put all that hard work in for 8 months, you're raring to go, ready to get back, and then you hit the exact same setback. It's not a little one, it's another massive one. So you're missing a full another season. And all you want to do is play rugby. It's what you want to do from when you're a kid. Just want to play. And yeah, it's mentally tough when you're constantly in the gym doing your rehab on your own. I think that year there was barely any injuries, so I was the only one that was injured. Just every day, same 4 walls, same playlist on the music. You know what I mean? It was just like, yeah, quite mentally draining. But yeah, when the news hit, I was just gutted, like proper gutted. You put all the hard work in, and it's kind of all for nothing.
Yeah, it feels like the end doesn't feel like it's in sight when you get a setback like that, doesn't it? And touch wood, like, I've not even had an injury of any length similar to that, or maybe even half the time. And it's a lonely time in rehab. You touched on that. As a kid, all you want to do is play rugby. Did you feel like growing up you were destined to play rugby? Were you always talented, or did it just fall towards you as you got a bit older? Because I know for myself, like, I grew up playing union in Ireland. I didn't play rugby league, and I can't say that from a young age I was destined to play rugby. Like, I was crap, if I'm being honest. Like, I think I probably scored about 6 tries in about 6 years when I was a kid. Like, I never scored tries. I was more interested in like chucking grass when I was real young. I just loved tackling. I loved the physical side, but like when it came to having the ball, I didn't care. Do you know what I mean? I was just like, oh, whatever. And I wasn't naturally athletic. I was sort of skinny, real slow. And then as I got a bit older, I started to like the game more. As you start to like the game more, you start doing a little bit. So I started like doing push-ups and sit-ups in my room and going on jogs and that. And then and that made me better at rugby. And then I got a bit better and I was like, oh, you know what? I like this stuff a little bit more because like I'm not getting smashed all the time. So you know what? It's a bit better fun when you're the one smashing someone, you know. But when you were growing up, did you always think rugby was for you? Or was it like myself that the path sort of came as you got a bit older?
No, I was obsessed. I used to go on runs with my dad. My dad used to go on his bike and I'd run at the side of him. So that was like extras I'd do. I'd constantly watching like Sean Johnson highlights on laptop and rugby. Like, yeah, it was that or nothing. I'd turn up before training, do extra passing, kicking. I'd stay after and do goal kicking. Like, I was just obsessed with it. And when I was like quite late to the party of like puberty and growing up, so I was always that little kid. I think I weighed like 50 kilos, and like my amateur team all kind of like progressed, and I felt a little bit left behind. And then I had this lad came down and trained, and he was unbelievable, to be fair. But he obviously got full beard and he'd matured kind of thing, and he took my spot, and I was like, what's going on here? I'm a bit gutted. So that hit, and yeah, I wasn't playing, and then I kind of went. I think I was like 2015. Sorry, I was 15, and then 2016 I kind of like came into my own, and things just all clicked, and I was playing well, scoring hat tricks. I was like making clean breaks all the time. Like, don't know, I was just really enjoying rugby, and things were just all falling into place, and then obviously progressed through the Rhino system and went to the first team.
Yeah, and you were young when you cracked it as well, weren't you? So you came through. Did you come through scholarship at Leeds, and then obviously progressed into the first team? What was that transition like when you've gone from obviously you've lost your spot to then you found a bit of form, and then like it probably all went pretty quick because you were quite young when you started playing Super League, weren't you?
Yeah. So what was academy? I think academy was 15, 16. So my first year I played really well in the academy. Didn't really think I was going to play because obviously I was still this small kid who, you know, I need to put some size, I need to learn a fair bit, and I played his first game of the season straight in, and I was a fullback. We played Catalan away, and again, don't know what happened. I just making breaks, clean breaks, but like I look back now and it was just all just purely just running and talent wise. My passing and stuff wasn't there, and yeah, from that game, made a few, you know, played really well, and never really got took out. I don't think I got injured that season either, so I played a hell of a lot of games, and then it was up to 19 years old. I think it's changed now, but the academy was under
19.
Yeah, under 19. So like they're nearly grown men, and I'm obviously still a kid and still needing to develop. But it was a good year, to be fair. Then it's straight through.
All the way through. So what's it like when you get the call up round one to make your Super League debut for Leeds? And what age were you then? 17, 18?
17.
17. Yeah. So you're 17 years old. You get told you're making your debut for Leeds. What are your dream, your childhood dream? What's going through your mind then? Because like that's extremely young, and you see less and less of it now, I think, than you did. Like I feel like when I was in academy, and there was a lot of 17-year-old debuts, 18-year-old debuts, and I feel like watching the Super League now, because like I love watching Super League, but I feel like there's less. There's more. Kids are getting like longer. There's a reserve grade comp now. Kids are getting longer to develop, which isn't a bad thing. But there's just like there's less. Whereas when I was in academy, like 4, 5, 6 blokes that I played academy with had all debuted for the first team, like the senior twins, Dom Young, Ollie Wilson, Sam Hewitt. There's a few other, and I'm looking around like, Is this just normal? Like a kid's just debuting, like, am I in a freak team? But it does seem to be happening less. Not necessarily that it's not happening, but 17 years old, like that's a very young age to be playing a lot of Super League. So what's going through your head when you get the call up and then you manage to stick yourself in that position?
I got the phone call from the defensive coach Chris Plume on. It was the Easter weekend. So it says, it was a Friday game, and it says, we need you to come down and, you could be playing this week. So I'm like buzzing, I'm, telling everyone. And then, so I went down, I was 18th man on the Friday. I might have been, sorry, the Monday. I was 18th man, but just like warming up with the lads, because it just come out of nowhere. I'd not been training with them before. Like there was no like hint that I was even close to even becoming in the first team. It was just, on that Monday they says, we need you down to train with first team because you might play this week. And that was the for the Widnes game, and I was like, oh yeah, no problem. Went down, and I just loved the atmosphere and everything. I just thought, this is what I want now. Like it just gave me another burst of like fire in the belly. I'm going to work even harder because this is exactly what I want. The South Stand were booming, and in that warm up on the Monday, I've got like Dan Maguire coming up to me going, get ready because you're going to play here. Brett Delaney's not quite right, so I'm like giddier and giddier. And I'm like, I'm going to play. And then towards the end of the warm up, Brian just come over and tapped me on the head and says, don't worry, you'll get your shot, mate. But like, I just loved the whole warm up and just being around the first team, being in front of all, the fans, because the South Stand was even smaller, and so it was even louder. Just loved it. And then I think Ashton Golden got injured in that game. I think he hurt his back. So I trained all week up to the Thursday of the Doncaster game, which was in the Challenge Cup, and then played really well, scored 3 tries, and it kind of just was week to week where I just loved it. And it's hard to explain. It was just obviously a dream come true, and I just loved every bit of it.
How could you not really? It's something so special when you dream of it as a kid about playing professional rugby, and then you get that opportunity. It's super exciting, and I feel like sometimes when you're young, when you do drop into that environment, it's nearly like ignorance is bliss, isn't it? Like it's like you said, you're just playing with confidence, just playing the game you love. You've not developed any sort of overthinking or anything like that. You're just grabbing hold of the ball and doing what feels like natural to you. Do you know what I mean? And you see it all too often that like players nearly get squeezed into a box. But when they were younger, like you said, they were making clean breaks and scoring tries. But that's because they were just playing as naturally as it come. Off the back of that, then Leeds has been a very successful team at the time. So coming up into that team with like you mentioned, Brett Delaney and legends like that. What's that like, learning off people like that and being in that environment that's like known to be so successful and has like a history of success and continued success now even?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I learned was how to act as like a professional. Because previously, in like the start of that year, I had no idea. I was just like, I'd have a cheeseburger before a game from McDonald's. Like would just do that and then play, and then that was it. But like, being around like Rob Burrow, Danny Maguire, I used to get lifts to training from Danny Maguire, and I'd see what he'd eat, what he'd drink, and just how he goes about things is, pre-ab, after games he'd do like hot and cold plunge, like just how to become a professional. But in terms of like on the field stuff, Dan Maguire, he took me under his wing, to it. That's why I talk about him a fair bit. He kind of just let me, like you just said then, just like not be squeezed in a box and just do you go do you, and he'll take care of the rest kind of thing. And that's what I did. I kind of just played what I thought was right, run, when I should, and it all worked out really. But yeah, I would probably say like skill wise, kind of just did my own thing, but I learned a lot in terms of how to be a professional.
Absolutely, and it is something that is learned. it's something that you don't realize. I always talk about this to people when I'm on the pod. I say, like, you don't actually know how to be a professional. You can watch all the videos or think that you know what you're doing, and at the time, no matter what you believe you're doing is right. Like at the time, you thought eating a cheeseburger before a game was, I'm fueling up or whatever. That's all you knew at the time. Do you know what I mean? And then you get a bit older, or someone comes in and teaches you something like Danny Maguire did for you, and you learn a bit off them, and then all of a sudden you go, maybe I shouldn't do it that way, or you go, maybe I should be doing something a little bit different. Like I said, when I first came over, when I was on trial, my breakfast was 100 grams of oats, orange juice, and creatine in a blender. That's what I used to drink, like, you know.
Oh my God.
Like, do you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know what I was doing, and then I'd just have like 9 eggs like in the microwave and things like. The stuff that I used to shovel into myself was just crazy. But I just thought like I'd have like 250 grams of pesto pasta, just pesto, full jar of pesto in it. Like, it was not a bit of veg, or you know, I was just absolutely. I did some disgusting things just to try and like get bigger, for one, and that was one of my missions, and two, just because like I didn't really know what good felt like. You know, so many people don't know what good feels like, and this is what I say to a lot of my clients as well. Like with my coaching stuff is like, you need to feel your body right, and once you start to feel yourself right, you know what it feels like to feel good. So then now, if you had a cheeseburger before a game, you'd be like, I feel rotten.
Yeah.
But you'd never experienced good before, so how would you know what it's like? You don't know you feel rotten because you've never experienced what it feels like to feel fueled.
Yeah.
Do you know, which is massive. So in terms of like obviously bringing it up to present time and the lessons that you've learned, what does your fueling and your recovery and your training schedule sort of look like now?
So nutrition side, I'm pretty strict on things, which I hate. You know, I'd love to just be able to have a packet of sweets here and there, but I just can't do it to myself. But yeah, in terms of prep and stuff like that, you know, I'll do it as in like a week. So I've got to box off a certain amount of things in a week, and then I know I'm good to go. On a game day, pretty relaxed. Make sure I get my stretch in and make sure I fire up certain parts of my body so they're all ready to go. And recently just been having like, I never have like a full sugar energy drink. I've been having that recently, and yeah, I love it. It gets me going. So yeah, other than that, that's it.
What's the energy drink of choice?
Mango Loco Monster.
The Mango Loco, yeah.
Yeah, man.
I can't say I've had a full sugar Monster in a while. I like to keep my Monsters, like I like to treat myself to, I have to be doing like a proper bro gym day. You know what I mean? Like I have to be doing like shoulders and arms or something, you know, like when it's a boy run, I'll treat myself to a Monster. The boys at Bradford love the Louis Hamilton. See, they call them the Louis, you know, the Lewis Hamilton.
No.
There you go, that's your next one to have. But the boys are flat on them. But now for me, I'm caffeine mad. But I found that I used to be a white Monster man in the change rooms, but the 500 ml, like the pint of Monster used to sit on my guts so bad. Like my guts are already in bits as it is. So they used to sit on me so bad. So now I just go for double caffeine shot. You know the little explode shots like from Nutrition X. I have 2 of them. Two scoops of beta-alanine, 2 gels, 2 coffees, and then and then no sleep. So last night's sleep, I can't say was easy, but it is what it is. Do you know what I mean? It's one of those ones, and like you said, a little full sugar Monster here and there doesn't do anyone any harm, does it? Yeah, we have to love it. We have to love it. So like in terms of then your prep for the game and that. You talked a bit about your prehab. You talked a little bit about your nutrition. Tell us a little about your week-to-week life. Obviously, for people who don't know now, you've transitioned obviously from that full-time life, and we'll touch on that again. But now in terms of in the championship part-time, doing a bit of work alongside, doing a bit of coaching, how do you balance your days? Like you're up at the crack of dawn from what it seems. So for those who obviously don't know, what does a day in a week look like for yourself, training-wise, work-wise, life-wise, I suppose, because it's a different balance to strike, isn't it, when you drop down into the championship? And I always mention it to people, like it's a mental grind as well as a physical grind, because it's a tough competition. There's ex-NRL players, there's ex-Super League players in the comp, and it's relentless as well because you play so many Sundays that it's constant. There's not a hell of a lot of time away from rugby, but regardless of all that, I think the biggest thing is managing work-life balance. You know.
Yeah. It is difficult. So like my Mondays would be, 'cause obviously you mentioned that I've started like doing online coaching, just getting people in good nick. So like I would use like Mondays as my check-in day, self-care, you could say, get myself in the gym, recovery session kind of thing, obviously from playing from a Sunday. And then I like to play paddle on a Monday, just get moving a bit more. Just a day to myself because my young one's in nursery on Monday, so I haven't got to worry about that. And our lass is working, like she uses that as a day because obviously young one's in nursery, so it's kind of a day of self-care and just start the week right. And then from Tuesday to Friday is I'll have to get up at 5, get gym in before work, and then start work 6, and then sometimes it'll be 3, 4, 5 o'clock finishes, and then straight to training Tuesday and Wednesday. So they're pretty much exactly the same day. So yeah, the sacrifice on that obviously is not seeing the young one, which I've noticed a fair bit in the coming weeks. So in the past week, sorry. So that's took a bit of a hit really. Even when I was like in championship and not working, I saw her loads and it was great. But working as well now, I've not seen her as much, and it's been a bit of a struggle. But it's more money for her, more things bought for her kind of thing. But yeah, that's kind of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we don't train, so it's just work. But I kind of like have that as my big long day of working. So that's like normally a 12-hour shift, 6 till 6. And I've been doing a thing called Path to Pro, so helping lads who quite haven't got a scholarship or are in scholarship and wanting to, get ahead of the game really and learn a bit more in detail, O and D. So I do that on a Thursday night, do calls. Last week I went all the way to Hull and did a field session, a gym session with one of my clients. So I kind of use that as on a Thursday. So that's after I've done that, I won't get until like 8, 9 o'clock. So another long day. And then Friday is early finish Friday, so be a 6 till 12 kind of thing, and then training on the night.
A busy week, without a doubt, a busy week, and a lot of commitments there, to say the least. Big thing is having that family network and the support. And you said it's difficult. Obviously, you don't get to see your daughter as much, but like the sacrifice that you're making now, well, it's a credit to you as a dad, isn't it? Really, but having that support network around you, how important is that they're sort of helping you and they're on side with you, so that you can do what you need to do and put your focus where you need to focus.
Yeah, it's great. And my partner's very, very supportive, and when I'm out working or training or playing on a weekend, she's got Willow, and we kind of work it in both ways as well. So she goes on business retreats to Dubai, Bali, Marbella and stuff like that. So when she goes there, I kind of take the reins and lock down the fort at home with the daughter, and we kind of work it that way. So I think it's quite important that they've got me, but also me and my partner work hand in hand with each other.
Absolutely, my man, absolutely. And touching on obviously the Path to Pro stuff, there's a vision for yourself of helping these young kids who didn't quite get a scholarship, having access to you as like such a decorated player who's played throughout the Super League in the Championship is one massive for any young kid. But tell us a little bit more about where that idea came from and what sparked the vision as such, to help these young people, because I feel like any sort of young person and young athlete needs a bit of mentorship and a bit of guidance. And like I could talk forever about how important that is, but I think like now more than ever, there's like so much distraction in the world. There's so many poor role models. Having good people around them is massive for young athletes. And as a young player myself, like, geez, when I was 15, that was 10 years ago now. There was no TikTok. There was far less like YouTube videos. Like, geez, some of the stuff that I was looking at, how to step, it would be like I'd be looking up how to sidestep, how to tackle, and it'd just be some uncle showing some video. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not what it is now, where they have access like to a professional like yourself, where the internet is so wide and you can literally see into like myself and yourselves lives and see what our day to day and try to replicate that. That wasn't there. So what sort of sparked the what inspired Pat the Pro, and tell those who don't know a little bit about that. If there's someone listening who could, I suppose, benefit from what you're doing, like that's huge.
So the idea actually sparked. I used to work at a Windows company, January, February time, but it was just like manual labour. Wasn't great.
not the funnest, is it? Doing
No.
grafted, the labour. Oh, it's not the greatest, is it?
Yeah, proper graft. So there was a lad that comes and picks up plastic, and I won't go into detail, but he comes in and does his job. Obviously, seeing me there, and he's a Hull KR fan. He's actually my boss now, so he kind of picked me up on that. But he come in and just says, "Oh, like you don't want to be working here, man. Like, why don't?" And then he says, "Why don't you like use your brain and like help kids out? And I'd pay you. I've got a son. I'd pay you." And I was like, "Yeah, like we kind of just like, right, fair enough. I'll go from there." And then I had an idea, obviously, to try and combine, because I've been doing online coaching for a fair bit now, so I kind of like combine the coaching and online clients like in the gym and stuff. So I just thought, from my personal experience, I never really got someone who, would tell me, the nutrition side, how to lift in the gym, and work that around training as well. Because however, you're supposed to get ahead of the game when you're doing the same things as everyone else in training. So yeah, Path to Pro, it just came from that, and it's basically I'll design a nutrition plan, a gym plan, fitness, as well as calls, and they have their own little client portal. They put their games in there. I review that. I go to their games, because you see more in person sometimes than what you do on video or from what they say. Some lads have said, "Oh, I'm really, really good at this," and I'll go and then I'll go, "Wait a minute, we need to do a little bit more on that."
Yeah.
So yeah, just that really.
No, it's good though. It's really good, and I think, like I mentioned, the power of having someone holding you accountable, like whether they've not made it into a scholarship, not made it into academy, or even if they're there. Sometimes, like we're in academy, you don't realize that, like as good as it is being in that system, there's not like the touch points aren't necessarily there because there's so many kids. Do you know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, an academy coach may be like an ex-player or maybe a member of staff, but they're there to like run an academy. Do you know what I mean? They're not there to make sure that Jack Walker becomes the best version of himself so he can crack it to the next level necessarily. Obviously, they're very invested and they put a lot of time in, and that's not to say that no coaches don't do that, but in terms of the one-to-one aspect, there's nothing like one-to-one coaching and one-to-one accountability. I think one of my clients reached out to me, but he was back home in Ireland. He never played rugby league before. He reached out. He said he wanted to help. He wanted help getting into rugby league, and obviously help with his fitness and his weight training and that. And he came to me, and I said, I gave him the best advice that I possibly could. Obviously, it's difficult back home to sort of progress it into the next stage. You really have to come to England, which isn't always easy as a young person. But listen, 12 months on, 15 months on, he's had a start against England for Ireland under-18s. And I think that's like, there's something special about that, and something special about seeing someone progress through the ranks. And like you said, having that one-to-one accountability, there's nothing like it. There's absolutely nothing like it. And it's something that I wish I had as a young kid. I wish I had access to a professional player who was a coach. Do you know what I mean? Going to be, listen, you could do this or you could do that, or why don't you try this, or I'm going to look at your game and see where you can do better and you can make improvements, because that's what separates, like you said, the standard. That's what gets that extra little bit, and you need to chase those 1%ers, especially as a young kid, because if you're just doing the same as every other academy kid, someone's going to out-genetic you, or someone's going to be doing that extra little bit because their dads told them to, or their coaches told them to do that, and then next thing you know, they've got ahead of you, and you're looking like, well, I did everything at training, but that's not it. Like, training's a couple hours a day, isn't it? It's not absolutely everything, is it?
No, I would say from moving from club to club, I picked up a lot, which I felt like I could just transfer that to the kids. And I feel like there's a lot of kids out there that'll, if they don't get a scholarship and the mate's got it, or you know, the mate's got an academy deal and they aren't, they'll kind of just go, oh, rugby's not for me. But, you know, scouts and coaches can get things wrong. So I think if you don't get an academy and you got to go back to amateur, you're still not going to get that level of coaching. So I feel like that's where I can help kids, you know, get a bit of belief back and a bit of confidence, because that was the biggest thing. Obviously when I put the Path to Pro out, I had, you know, parents messaging me and saying, oh yeah, like his confidence is like super low because he's just been knocked back. And I was just like, well, you know, if I give him the knowledge and the know-how, you know, to perform on the field, you know, when he starts, you know, playing well, his confidence is going to come back because you know, I've given him the knowledge to do that. So, yeah, I think that's where I feel like I can help kids, you know, just get a little bit of confidence back, and, you know, it's not over until it's over.
Exactly that. And I think like when I was coming through, it's something my mum would have invested in me. And I think it's sometimes the frustration for parents is they don't know what more they can do for their kid. Because often it's not like, there's not much more a parent can do. They take them to train. They're doing all the things that a parent should do. It's just simply the fact that like they've maxed out their realm of knowledge and they need to go to a different source. And that's the power of coaching. And that's why I believe everyone should have a coach. Like I have people who help me with like the business side of things for me. Because I don't have the first clue about running podcasts or running online coach. So I get people to help me with that. I'm not afraid to say that, because like, what do I know? Do you know what I mean? Like I'm doing this for the first time as well. So how am I meant to know this? But what I do know about is getting people lean, getting people jacked, helping kids be, like, same with you, helping kids become better rugby players, helping people get into the best shape of their life. That's our realm of knowledge. Do you know what I mean? If me and you decided today we need to become stock traders, we're going to go get some help as well, because we understand the process that if you don't know how to do something, you can obviously learn yourself. Or you can just go and seek help from someone who knows exactly what to do, and then you learn off them, and then all of a sudden you've bridged that gap 20 times quicker than if you just went and tried to seek the knowledge and apply it yourself without any accountability. Do you know, that's key. Touching on what you mentioned there, obviously you've been at a couple other clubs, so you came through at Leeds. Where was the next step after that, and how did that all come about? Like obviously Leeds is sort of your hometown club, isn't it, as such?
Yeah.
And then obviously developing on from there, and then getting to Sheffield now, I suppose, is the next thing.
Yes. So yeah, 2017 was debut year. 2018, 2019, 2020, the horror year when I hit the foot injury. So it took me a couple of years to get back, but yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but Leeds, obviously I went back to back with my foot injury, which was 2 seasons. So Leeds activated a clause, which is in every single Rugby League player's contract. It's a clause that says if you don't train or play within a certain amount of time, I can't remember the exact time, I think it's like 6 months, then they can terminate your deal without paying you. So obviously that was me. I went back to back years of being injured. So they activated that clause, and I had another year left. So yeah, that happened, and Bradford, I think Leeds and Bradford worked something out where Leeds could contribute some money and Bradford had contributed some money, and then I went and played at Bradford, and first 4 minutes of my first game for Bradford, went and nearly ruptured my hamstring on that same leg. So yeah, that happened. Got back after 12 weeks. Played maybe between 5 and 10 games, and then Hull KR coming for me. Went over there. I didn't play for the first few games. I was just like, well, what am I doing here? You brought me in, you're not playing me, kind of thing. But you know, things worked out well. Played the rest of the season there. Played really well, which allowed me to get a 2-year deal at Hull FC. A tough year at Hull FC last year. You know, I think we won like 3 games. So I thought I played well in majority of the season. Played majority of the season, or was available for majority of the season. I think I was unavailable for maybe 6 games, which coming off the back of all the injuries, of, you know, not playing that many games, I thought that was, you know, it was a bit of an achievement for me. You know, playing or being available. Obviously, Logan Moy was playing over me at the time, but I was available and fit, ready to play. So for me, I was available for majority of the games, which was I was buzzing. And then it got to the end of the season, and obviously because we had a bad year, Reggie Myler come in and had a bit of a clear out, and yeah, my name was on the list of people who wasn't wanted anymore. So I got told mid-season that I was staying. They wanted me to stay. They wanted me to be the fullback for the year after. So I was like, yes, sweet, no worries. And then he actually turned around at the end of the season, after every club has got a fullback, everyone's spent all the money for the year after, turns around to me in like October, November time and says, look, we don't want you. So kind of left me in a difficult spot to get a club. And then went November, December and January, no club. Thinking I'm going to have to wait till someone gets injured for me to even get a shot here. So fortunately, Sheffield said, look, we'll take you on a monthly rolling deal, and that's where I'm at the moment. Just on a monthly rolling contract with Sheffield, and just trying to put my best foot forward to try to secure some sort of long-term deal.
Absolutely, and there's a lot of adversity faced in a short period of time, to say the least. A lot of curveballs thrown your way, and things you probably couldn't really predict, like obviously contract terminations, like with years left on the contract, and then a lot of adversity, even like going to Bradford, nearly rupturing your hamstring. There's a few bits going on there. Throughout that time, obviously initially starting at the Bradford and the hamstring, are you thinking, I just need to get back playing? Or are you going, geez, this is just one thing after another? Like, is there frustration starting to creep in, and are you starting to doubt yourself? Or are you just like, no, I just need to keep doing the things that I need to do to showcase what I'm all about and get back to my previous form pre-injuries?
So when I did the hamstring at Bradford, I actually rang my manager and says, I think that's me done. I've had enough. I'm not going through this mental struggle again. And he kind of persuaded me to say, look, give it one more crack at least. And I kind of, from then on, just left no stone unturned. Devoted my life to the gym, like I said earlier, and nutrition, everything in that sense. Make sure I smash my rehab all the time, and yeah, I'm kind of glad I didn't. But yeah, it was tough, but yeah, I just kind of just didn't really want to go through the mental struggle again. I just thought I'll just get a normal job and kind of just be a part of my life where I can be happy and just, enjoy my family time and not have to go through any mental stress or struggle. But glad I didn't, because it's part and parcel of rugby. I was still young. I was 22 at the time. And things are looking better. Definitely feel like my body's over the injuries now, and I've just had to come off an MCL, but that was kind of out of my control. Someone coming at my knee, and I was stood up in a tackle. There was just nothing I could do about it. But yeah, when I ate the news with the Bradford one, I just thought, yeah, I think that's me.
It's not easy going through that, is it, when you're so young? Obviously, you're being tested. You're being tested and tested again, but I do feel like all of the adversity, it does stand to you, and when you stack up enough times that you've proven that I can make myself back from an injury, I can get myself back to form again, which you clearly did because you got yourself into that KR team, and then you managed to get yourself a deal at FC. But being able to sort of stack that proof that you can bounce back again and again and again, it does stand to you. And the thing about this sport is it's never straightforward for anyone, is it? It's never straightforward for anyone, but being able to stack that is huge. So you go to KR, you finish the season off there, and then you get dropped into FC last year, which was obviously, it's clear to say. So you swap sides of the city. How did that go down?
You know what? It wasn't too bad, because I'd been at Hull FC on loan previously, so they were happy to have me back. And I think because I played so well at Hull KR, they kind of were a bit gutted to see me leave. I think both sides like me. I don't know, but yeah, I don't think I'm I know when you move, if you were to move from club to club, you get called a snake and some horrible names that get thrown at you. But I think I've done service for both sides.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I think that's something important to touch on as well. Like, obviously, there's pressure as an athlete, isn't there? And you get called names and you get sort of demonized for putting yourself out there. And, like, it's clear that you put yourself out there. But I really respect that. And I think it's a good thing. Like, and I think that we need more personalities in the game. And I had Pricey on the podcast before, and we were speaking about this. I think that we need more personalities in the game, and we need more people out putting themselves out there, and we need more athletes showcasing their life, because like you see it in football, and even in rugby union you're starting to see it now. And I'm not saying we're going to be like footballers, like, but they put themselves out there, you know. They are who they are, and they're not afraid to be who they are. And as long as we try to fit a mold as rugby players, like, people, as much as they love the game, they want to know about the player, don't they? And I feel like in order to grow our game, we need players who put themselves out there and just be authentic within themselves. And I think, like, that's one of the biggest things. Like, I know you went across the City Hall, but, like, if you're authentic to yourself, people are going to respect that. And if you're transparent within who you are, and you share your journey and you share your story and you share the tests of this sport, no one's going to judge you. And if they do, which people always will, it's one of those ones that you know to yourself that you've been truly authentic. Like, I've seen, like, obviously, people are like, oh, you didn't play a lot at FC last year, but you've clearly spoken about you were available, you just weren't selected. There's nothing you can do about that. You know, people can't say, oh, it's because of your injuries. If you were available for selection, you just weren't picked. What can you do? Do you know what I mean? It's not like you were sidelining yourself. Do you know, it's one of those ones. But I do think that putting yourself out there and creating your personality in the sport, it's huge.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing with me, and I think doesn't really go down well with certain people. So obviously when I came through in 2017, I had Brian Mack as my coach, and if anyone that knows him, he's a very honest guy, and he'll say how it is. And I was the same. So I've kind of just had that my whole career, kind of just like being honest and saying how it is. And there's a lot of coaches that I've had that are scared to have an adult conversation and be honest and not beat around the bush. Which I think that's why, not necessarily clashed heads with like coaches, but like, how do I say this about, and like I'm not brown nosed coaches. Like, I've just kind of said my point of view and just been honest. And some coaches don't like that, which I think that's why, you know, a few of the times I've been told to move on. So, but just being myself, that's just me.
Yeah, well, all you can do within this sport is be authentic to you and who you believe you are. And you can look back and go, oh, I probably should have done something better. Do you know what I mean? And that's fine. But as long as you learn the lesson from it, do you know what I mean? As long as you go, you know what, I could have dealt with that situation better. I dealt with it as best as I could at the time with the adversity that I was going through. Do you know what I mean? Because that's the thing, isn't it? That, like, whatever you're going through in the moment has a clear effect on your attitude and your outlook, whether it be like contract time. And people don't understand the pressures of contract negotiations. Do you know what I mean? Like, when it's crunch time and you're coming to the end of the season and you don't know where you're at, like you've just gone through. Obviously, you're on a month rolling deal now. You went through the Christmas months without actually having a contract. Like, that's pressure. That's pressure on your family. That's pressure on yourself. And the self-doubt creeps in then, doesn't it? That in the back of your head that you're thinking, wait a second, like, where am I going to go? You don't know where you're going to call home. You don't know you don't know where you're going to end up playing. Like, you don't know what your commute's going to be like. And there is something that's so simple about a structured job. You know what I mean? You know where your work is going to be. You know that as long as you do your job, that you're probably not going to get sacked in a normal job. But in this sport, like, things like the cogs are constantly moving, and you have to be on your A game.
Yeah, definitely. I always feel like I'm just constantly treading on eggshells. I get that clubs won't want to sign me because there's this big dark cloud on my head that says he's injury prone. But yeah, just obviously I'm on a month-long deal now, so I've always got in the back of my head, if I get injured, they're going to get rid of me and I'm going to have no club again. And when I was at Hull KR, I think I went all the way up to like the quarterfinals with no club. For the year after, and I was thinking, what's going on here? Like, I've no club. So again, if I get injured, no one's going to take me, and it's like constantly in like treading on eggshells, and it does. I feel like it does play a part in my game where I kind of feel like I can't go full tilt in games, because if I do go full tilt and then get this injury, I'm back to over the Christmas period with no club, no income, and no money to support my family really. So yeah, there's a hell of a lot of pressure on it, and I'm just hoping I get a deal locked down pretty soon.
Absolutely. Well, I hope so for yourself. It's a scary place to be, that contract time. I know. I've only been there a couple of times in my career, and it's not nice. It's not nice for anyone. You don't know where you're going to be at, and like you said, the biggest thing is you don't know what your income's going to be, and if you're going to have an income over the Christmas period, you're going through that adversity. You don't know where you're going to be at. What is that like for yourself? Do you know what I mean? How are you managing that period? Because you're obviously still training, like you're doing like a pre-season for yourself, really, aren't you? How are you managing that Christmas period by yourself, knowing that you don't know when a contract's going to come onto the table, and if one is going to come, and where it's going to be?
Yeah, so I just thought, like I said, I just don't want to leave it any stone unturned. I just thought I'd just do my own pre-season. Like I'm pretty clued up on what I need to do in the gym and fitness wise. So even when I went back and obviously got the deal at Sheffield, I wasn't too far off, everyone else. So yeah, I think the main focus for me is obviously just make sure I turn up on a daily basis, because it's hard when you're doing your own pre-season. You don't have to go and do it. Like I could have sat at home and just done nothing, but it's having that, that discipline and consistency to, on them cold, dark mornings, to make sure you get up and go to the gym and go do a run and make sure you're eating the right stuff. Because obviously I didn't have to do it. I had no club. I had no one holding me accountable. And I just thought, I've got to be disciplined over these months, because when I do get my shot, because the shot will come, I've got to make sure I'm ready for it, and I take it with both hands.
For sure. And like I always say this to younger athletes, is you have to be the athlete before you get the opportunity to become the athlete. Like you had to prep yourself for pre-season before you had a club. Do you know what I mean? So that when you dropped in, like the last thing you want to do is come into somewhere and be unfit, be at the back of con, because you're not putting your best foot forward, even though you could possibly get there. You're not putting your best foot forward. I always say this, like if you don't have an academy, if you don't have a scholarship, even if you're going into your 20s and you want to still crack at a pro, you need to be living that professional lifestyle or to the best of your knowledge, long before you get an opportunity. Like when I came over on trial in Huddersfield in 2018 as a 17-year-old bloke, I was already training the house down for months and months, telling people back home, I'm going to be a pro rugby player. I'm going to be a pro rugby player. And it was delusion. It was genuine delusion. That's the only way to call it. I was delusional. I had no idea how I was going to do it. I didn't have any opportunities coming my way, but I was still training, like between like actually playing and training. It was like 6-7 days a week. It was just non-stop, because I was living that life to the best of my knowledge, that when I got the opportunity, I was going to be ready. And even when I then came over here, on my days off, it was stupid really, but I was doing like 5Ks on the treadmill, doing like heavy deadlifts on my days off of academy training. While I was on trial, I was like, yeah, off to the gym, I'm going to go do heavy deadlifts. But that's all I knew. That's all I knew. And like, when you're trying to bridge that gap between opportunities, you need to make sure that you, like you said, you didn't leave a single stone unturned, because it will come back to bite you. And anyone who leaves stones unturned, it does come back to bite them eventually. It's not like you can just cheat this game. The game is ruthless as it is. It's physical. It's quick. It has every bit of adversity possible, like you've clearly gone through. That if you know that you're cheating yourself in the back of your mind, you're probably not coming back from these injuries, or you're probably not taking the opportunities when they come. When you go to KR, from Bradford, when you go to FC, when you get the opportunity at Sheffield, you're probably not taking them if you haven't prepped yourself well enough.
Yeah, definitely. I think you get what you put in this game, and if you take shortcuts, you will get found out.
Absolutely, my man. Final thing, I suppose, is looking on to the future. Obviously, you're hoping to sign a long-term deal. What other goals do you have for the future, and what's the vision looking like for Jack Walker?
I think with me dropping down to Championship this time, I've really had a chance to step outside the rugby bubble, and step into the real world, if you could say. I'm currently in the process of setting up my own paddle centre with my best friend. Don't know if you've played paddle, but
I love paddle.
yeah, it's so good. It's the fastest growing sport in the world, and there's about 3 or 4 maybe in Leeds area. So we're on the map to try and find a warehouse. We've got everything in place. We're just waiting for this warehouse so we can pull the trigger really, and and create a business. And that's something I want to do. I want to work on my time. I don't want to work on anyone else's time. Don't really want to work for anyone. I want to be my own boss. And obviously with the path to pro side, in the future I'd love to be able to go to like scholarships and academies and work with halfbacks and fullbacks and do sessions there. I feel like I really do have a passion for helping kids, and because I didn't really get any coaching until I was like 22 years old, and it's only over the past 2-3 years where I've really picked up a lot and took a lot on board. So if I can transfer that over to kids who are in that academy age, they can really get ahead of of other people, like people who are playing Super League regularly, and you couldn't be more clued up than them. They may be playing Super League, but you've got better knowledge. So that's something I want to do with that sense. Going to academies and scholarships, and potentially even reserve grade, and just help halfbacks and fullbacks. Just get a better understanding of the game. Being a good dad, and just cracking on my life.
I love that. And listen, I'm excited to see this paddle court get built. More than anything, obviously, exciting things with the path to pro as well. But as you mentioned, paddle's a massively rapid growing sport, fastest growing in the world. It's so fun. It sort of ties in with everything that you're about, is like fitness, lifestyle, and like you said, it's an exciting market, and getting to be your own boss and sort of have a little thing for yourself that you've set up before your career finishes up. It's massively exciting. I think it's something to look onto the horizon with real excitement and real passion and purpose, I guess.
Yeah. I kind of it was when I was just training and didn't really have a job on the side. I was like, well, what do I enjoy? And one was golf, but there's too many golf courses about, and then one was paddle, and I just thought, why not set up my own paddle centre? And me and my best friend sat down, and we thought this can really happen. So it's been in works now since February, and we're pretty much all there. We just need the final piece of the puzzle, which is a warehouse, and then all systems go.
Exciting times ahead for sure, my man. I'm looking forward to my first session of paddle. Listen, mate, I really appreciate you coming on. Jack Walker, that was a serious message. Thank you, my man.
Cheers, mate. Thanks for having me.